What's going on, guys? Brass Tacks here. Back at it again. Trying to keep my head above water. Smiling along the way. Dealing with a couple of issues here. And not like anybody, doesn't have the same issues that I have. We just go through them at different times or we experience them differently. I'm a firm believer that we've all been through very similar situations and we've encountered very similar problems, and if we aren't too traumatized by that experience, we can help others through it when they um, when it's time for them to pass through their trials and tribulations. Last we spoke, people only respect what they fear, and unfortunately, if you're dealing with a person only whose only means of respect is through fear, then you're going to have an issue or a situation where that person has to feel fear or be next to it. Kind of like how you put your hand next to the electric burner on the stove, you can kind of feel it, or in some areas of the country, the gas burner. The closer you are to it, the more obvious that it is that it's hot. But when it's way above the stove, it doesn't seem like it's a danger. So you feel like you can maneuver a certain way. I've recently come to the conclusion that I had more people in my life that responded to fear or the presence of fear or the threat of violence or um, danger more than I wanted to admit, and that led me to reevaluate a couple of my relationships. And unfortunately, I had to cut a few people off. I had to modify a couple different relationships. I have to basically, I have to have this relationship with people, with some people that's guarded because for whatever reason it seems more feasible for that person to be around than it is for that person to not be around. Um, Sometimes it just comes down to just manipulation that we were exposing one another to. And when it all said and done, we determined that the relationship was as is, was manageable and tolerable, and that no changes were needed. And even though I may not agree with a lot that's said, with a lot that's done, don't think that because I don't challenge a person who's talking under their breath uh, immediately after I say something in a suspected derogatory manner, who um, when they catch my glance shuts the fuck up. I'm not going to concern myself with situations where people mumble or wait for my back to be turned, or because they think that I'm looking to my right, they think they can go get off with some goofy shit on my left. If that's how you want to conduct yourself, that's how you want to conduct yourself. That's how you want to live your life. That's how you want to live a life. You are basically telling me and the people around you that choose to pay attention to you that you wait for people's backs to be turned for you to fully execute, your plan. And that's not to say that, I mean, it's not me passing judgment. It's just me stating the obvious. You you wait for the coast is clear, and then you try to make a move. For whatever reason, you think that it's better to be done behind people's backs than it is to be done in front of them. You want them to find out after the fact. Maybe you are counting on them not coming to you. Maybe you're counting on them. Maybe you're looking forward to the confrontation. Maybe you don't think they're smart enough to find out that you did it. Whatever the reason, there's a lack of respect for that person and for your relationship with that person. I don't know if I'm ever going to be in a position to try to mold the culture and tell people to do this and not do that. I think that for the most part, I just have to be. Don't talk about it, be about it. Show people through your actions what you're really about. And, it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to do that. I found myself asking why certain people were in my life and why certain people weren't. Why I've elected to try harder to try to look past certain parts of a relationship, and why others it's like a deal breaker. And I think that in some cases it had to do with longevity of the relationship. I've known this person for that long, and I don't want to jeopardize the relationship. Or did it come down to fear? Because I also had to deal with people who, when they find out that you are onto their dumb shit, they do damage control, where everybody and anyone that you know gets contact, and then you are systematically destroyed on a couple different levels. Whatever that person believes you to be known for, they're going to crank that shit up 1,000, and the negative stuff's going to come out, and the positive stuff's going to be hidden to the back. It's still going to be there, but it's not going to be as prominent as that negative. And you're going to hear more and more conversations related to why that person is the source of the problem, or the source of the concern. And you're going to hear more and more excuses and more reasons why the person who is doing all this public relations, crowd control, damage control type scenario, while they're going out there promoting themselves and degrading you, you got to do the same thing. You have to be able to stand up for yourself and be able to counter that stuff. Because if not, you run the risk of losing your support network. You run the risk of losing the respect that you've earned, your place that you've carved out. And that's a daunting task for some people. I know that I don't like having to do it sometimes, because I know that I have a tendency to go for the judgment. If you want to get dirty, you're going to get dirty. I prefer sub-parodies, dress slacks and polished shoes, and the shirt that I haven't even sweated in. I prefer to stay clean and comfortable, but if you want to get down to the muck, you get down to the muck, and that's when problems start arising. because some people are better at it than others. I'm not ashamed to admit that I found out that my skills down in the muck were not nearly as honed, as sharp as I'd like them to be. There's some people out there that you would not suspect that are really good at damage control, public relations, and making sure that you're the person who is to blame, or the person who is at fault, or the person where the drama's coming from. If you spend your whole life doing things in front of people and getting used to operating in front of people, if someone's able to work in the background, someone who's unseen, someone who's used to being overt or covert, that person comes along, and if you're not paying attention, the person who's used to working in front of everyone, who's used to putting his efforts on display, that could be hijacked. And before you know it, now you're spending most of your time counteracting what that person's doing because you didn't stop it before it got too big. Now, earlier we said that if you're going to be the type of person who operates a certain way and does stuff in front of people, and you're trying to show people what you're about, you have to understand that there's people that's going to be working in the background who aren't nearly as confident in their abilities as they are in their ability to undermine you. Now, while you're out there doing your thing, that's going to be used against you, because now that's your primary way about expressing yourself. And if you're not careful, now the only thing you're doing is defending yourself against allegations, against constant attacks and thoughts that creep up based off of bias or prejudice. You walk a slippery slope. But the reward is that conducting yourself properly will allow people to see the type of character that you want them to see versus what this other person or persons or threats want them to see. They can see the game that's being played, and they can see that you trust them to come to their own conclusion, whereas somebody else is guiding them and manipulating their perception. And depending on the people, they may say, hey, fuck that person, I'm going to stick with you. You show me what you're about. My bad for even entertaining that dumb shit. Let's move out. You got some other people who will say, well, they wouldn't be talking about you if there wasn't nothing to talk about. And they may not side with you. And to be honest with you, you got to question whether or not why those people were there to begin with and what they gained. Because everyone gets dirt thrown at on their reputation or on their person at some time or another. And some people are there to weather the storm. Some people will be there after you clear your name. Some people will be there after you say, you know what, that was some bullshit, I proved it. Cut that person off, their message. And, good on you. If you have people like that in your life, you have people in your life that are willing to stick by you after all that bullshit, you let them know that they mean something every day. Doesn't matter how small it is, you let them know that they matter. And when someone exposes themselves as that covert type of person who manipulates from the shadows, shine the light on them, see them for what they are, and keep it moving. And remember that even though you're operating in the light, they're operating in the shadows. You have to be aware of that. Doesn't matter if that's your preferred method. Their preferred method is manipulation. So be on your guard. Stay on your shit. And try not to piss down someone else's back until it's raining. think that's one of the main things. Some of the few things that we can do to make not just our lives, but everyone else's lives a little bit more tolerable. Be on your guard, guys.